History is a warning, a whisper echoing across centuries. It tells us that power is never permanent and that every empire, no matter how mighty, eventually faces a reckoning. Rome, the British Empire, and now the United States. Today, America stands at a crossroads. Will its age of power end in sudden collapse, or a managed retreat into a new world order? The story is not yet finished, but its opening chapters, they were written by other empires long ago. 2,000 years ago, Rome ruled the known world. Its legions built roads, walls, rulers, and the greatest empire Western civilization had ever seen. But Rome's power came with a cost. A vast army needed pay, a sprawling empire needed control. As its wealth ran thin, Rome turned to a dangerous solution. It debased its own currency. Silver became copper. Copper became dust. Inflation gutted the middle class. Trade slowed. Trust, the glue of any civilization, began to rot. Political corruption spread like a plague. The republic's democratic ideals shattered. Power shifted from elected senators to generals with private armies, loyal not to Rome, but to themselves. Civil wars erupted. Blood washed over marble. The republic died long before the empire finally fell. The United States is not Rome, yet the parallels are unsettling. A soaring national debt, political factions locked in warfare, the richest elites holding the reins of power, a global military footprint straining the treasury. Rome called itself a republic long after it had stopped acting like one. If America cannot acknowledge its own fractures, history may repeat itself, not as myth, but as consequence. Once, Britain ruled a quarter of the world. Its navy controlled every sea, its banks every transaction. This was not just an empire of flags, but an empire of finance, trade, and global power. But greatness can be fragile. 2 world wars bled Britain dry. Factories burned, debt soared. A global empire became a burden too heavy to carry. So Britain made a painful choice: step back from empire to save the nation at home. They surrendered global dominance, but preserved stability, culture, and influence. Decline did not destroy Britain, it transformed it. When the Soviet Union crumbled, the United States stood alone. The world entered a new age, one nation, unmatched, a unipolar moment. America became the world's sheriff, its corporations the new temples, its currency the bloodstream of global trade. But a world with only one superpower invites a dangerous temptation: power without restraint. Without a rival to fear, America pushed deeper into conflict. Iraq, Afghanistan, trillions spent, thousands of lives lost. Meanwhile, bridges rusted, factories hollowed out, debt climbed to heights once thought impossible. A nation that built the future stopped investing in its own. Today, the world is changing fast. China ascends. Russia resists. Regional powers rise: India, Turkey, Brazil. A new multipolar world is forming. America still leads, but no longer commands. Power is shifting, and the question is no longer, can the United States remain number one, but can the United States remain strong at all? Empires are not ruled by armies alone. They are ruled by currency. The US dollar, the world's reserve currency, has been the silent foundation of American power. Every nation needed dollars. Every trade flowed through America. Every crisis strengthened the U.S. financial throne, but a throne built on debt cannot rise forever. Today, America owes more than it produces. The solution? Borrow, print, borrow again. A miracle, until the world stops believing. The strength of any nation lies in its middle class, but in America, that foundation is crumbling. While billionaires build rockets to the stars, millions struggle to afford a home, or a healthcare bill, or the next meal. As wealth concentrates, so does power. Policies change, opportunities shrink, and the promise of America, a nation where anyone can rise, fades into a memory. America once manufactured the future: steel, cars, microchips, dreams. But Wall Street found cheaper labor overseas, and the factory towns that built a superpower were left to rust. A nation that cannot build its own technologies cannot lead a technological age. Every empire must choose: invest at home or fade away. America delayed its choice. Now the bill is due. The dollar remains king, for now, but China builds alternatives. Russia rallies allies. Nations quietly reduce their dependence on the greenback. If trust in the dollar breaks, so does America's greatest source of power. Rome debased its currency to pay for an empire it could no longer afford. History remembers what happened next. A house divided against itself cannot stand. America's political system, once the envy of the world, now teeters on the edge of dysfunction. Debate has turned to warfare, disagreement to hatred, opposition to enemies. When truth becomes tribal, reality bends. When compromise becomes weakness, governance collapses. And when a people stop believing in their institutions, those institutions die. In Rome, senators served themselves. Today, Washington bows to a new elite: money, corporations, influence for purchase. Democracy may still be printed on the brochure, but the product looks different now. The more wealth divides, the more power divides, and the more ordinary citizens are shut out. When a nation's rulers stop serving the people stop serving the nation. When institutions fail to solve problems, people search for someone who promises they can: a savior, a fighter, a ruler above the rules. History warns us. Republics rarely die suddenly. They vote themselves into extinction, one promise at a time. Freedom is rarely taken. It is surrendered. Here is the choice: to heal divisions or weaponize them, to rebuild the center or tear it down, to strengthen institutions or replace them with a single voice. The decisions made in the coming years will determine whether America declines like Rome or transitions like Britain. The empire that conquers the world cannot survive if it cannot govern itself. Empires do not fall because enemies are strong. They fall because foundations weaken. Rome ignored the warning, Britain adapted to it, and America must choose. If the United States wants to endure, it must turn inward, not as a retreat, but restoration. Invest in the nation's mind, education, its backbone, infrastructure, its future, innovation. Rebuild trust, rebuild unity, rebuild purpose, not to sustain dominance, but to safeguard stability. The age of one superpower deciding the fate of all others has reached its end. A multipolar world is forming, distributed, complex, unpredictable. This is not America's downfall. It is the world growing into its own, and power must be shared to be sustained. The real test is not whether America remains number one, but whether America remains whole. Nations survive by remembering what binds them, not what divides them. If the United States can renew its promise, invest in its people, and rediscover a common future, then its story is not ending. It is beginning a new chapter. History does not repeat. It instructs. It asks every great power the same question. Will you learn, or will you be erased? The choice is now.